We finished episode 15 on an enormous cliffhanger. Would I stay at Worthing, or would I move to one of the most financially wrecked clubs in English football and apply the Director of Moneyball toolkit there to take them back to the top? Well, the decision is made. We go to Birmingham City. Greetings, my excellent friends, and welcome to Club 2, Part 1 of the Director of Moneyball. I'm Kirk Sheridan, and you join me today as I take over at Birmingham City Football Club. If you're new around here and you missed the previous 15 parts of the series, do go back and check it out. It's all there in the playlist. But today, at Birmingham, we're applying the same principles. We are playing as the Director of Football. That means we're not getting involved in match tactics. We're not getting involved in team selection. We're not training. We're not team talking. We are leaving all of that up to our staff. So if you're excited to see us take on this challenge, please do drop a like on the video. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel as well. So last season, Birmingham finished 13th in the Championship. We have great training facilities. We have good youth facilities, above average youth recruitment, and shocking, and I mean shocking, finances. We're in debt, we have a woeful transfer budget, we have a pathetic wage budget, but I'm hoping we do have a decent enough spine of the team here. So the expectations at Birmingham seem pragmatic: work within the wage budget, grow the reputation, and basically stick in mid-table in the Championship, repair that financial damage, and just stabilise. The supporters would like us to play entertaining attacking football if we can, but mostly beat Villa, beat Wolves, and again, stay mid-table. All feels perfectly doable. So if you're new around these parts, I will just run through some of the steps you have to take at the beginning of any club when you're playing as the Director of Football. First and foremost, give up your responsibilities as team manager and head coach to your staff. So we shall delegate out all of our team selection, but pick up all of the staff recruitment. That's going to be a crucial responsibility as Director of Football. And the same for contracts. All of that stays in our remit. We will be taking charge of the full scouting team, taking sole responsibility for all transfer and contract negotiations, but giving all the team management and coaching responsibilities to our assistant manager and the rest of the staff. So let's meet the man who will be responsible for our climb back to Premier League glory, Jamie Day. He plays a vertical tiki-taka style in a 4-2-3-1 formation. So in order to allow him to train and develop the team to play that style, what we'll do now is go to the tactics screen and just set up his standard tactic. That way, when he's allocating the training, he'll be allocating all of the sessions to play the tactic that he is most comfortable with. Little bit concerning then, that when it comes to our squad, they're not currently set up to play a vertical tiki-taka game. This might be an interesting summer. And there we have it. Simple but effective. We'll now leave it up to Jamie to set up training accordingly. The next thing that I would normally do at the start of a new club on a Director of Football save is dismiss the incumbent Director of Football, because it's completely cheating. That is my job. This man should not be here. However, I have promised to keep Kelvin Housley in place as Director of Football for the next 181 days. When we reach that point, we can dismiss him. So essentially, he's going on gardening leave. We're pretending he doesn't exist. You can see now, though, that through August, after selecting that key tactic, if we leave Jamie to it, he's going to be concentrating on ball retention, ball distribution, playing out from the back. But can this team play a good vertical tiki-taka? Well, as things stand, I have a first team squad of 19 players. 19 players to secure a mid-table finish in the Championship. One of those players, Jordan James, is already on loan at Brentford with a transfer arranged. Well, we know the finances around here are broken, so let's find out quite how fractured they are. You ready for this? Right, we have an overall bank balance of minus £8.5 million. Our transfer budget is 107,000. Our wage budget is 29,000, and what? I'm not quite sure what to do with this. We're currently spending £140,000 a week on wages, which is £110,000 a week over our wage budget. We're not allowed to keep any transfer revenue. What have I done? Worthing, will you have me back, please? My word, this is going to be a challenge. Well, now is as good a time as any then to run through the rules of Moneyball, which, if applied correctly, will get us out of this very, very sticky situation. The first rule of Moneyball is promote your youth team ahead of making transfers. Common sense, really. If we're going to save money and get a competitive advantage above other teams with money to burn, it's much better to promote promising youngsters, develop them and sell them for a profit than pay a load of money to bring in ready-made stars. The good news is we do have, by the look of things, plenty of development prospects. There's a good few players there with a 2-star rating already for the senior team. And a lot of them had quite significant potential, which is very encouraging. If we can help them realise that potential, we definitely have some saleable assets to eventually claw us out of that massive overdraft. That's good. That's promising. That's one bright spark at least. Rule 2 is also pretty simple. Only sign players aged 20 to 25 who have played a decent amount of football, so there's statistical evidence to back up their potential. If we look at Nelson Abbey, for example, potentially an excellent signing for the future, but he hasn't yet played any football. So he would be a mighty, mighty risk. Cameron Humphreys, though, a decent amount of game time in League One last year, so we can make a far more rational decision using that evidence that's available to us. Now, in terms of our club DNA, I'm going to be applying a similar ethos to the one we used at Worthing. I want players who are determined, who are going to work hard for their team, strong, good stamina and pacey as well, and who can pass the ball. The passing obviously is going to be crucial for the tiki-taka style that we're looking to play, but we're going to need hard-working, fit and fast players. Rule 3 is shop outside the usual markets. Go for players who are transfer listed. Go for free transfers. Lower reputation leagues, lower reputation countries, lower reputation clubs. Essentially, find bargains. We're looking for players who are going to be high performers who are undervalued. And that might be tricky because we don't even have enough budget available to scout down to League One. Well, we shall come back to this once we've adjusted our financial situation somewhat. Rule 4, always improve defence before attack, and that is because, quite simply, clean sheets are worth more points than goals scored. If we can keep a tight defence, we have a much better chance of achieving that mid-table finish, and thankfully, we do have what looks to be a solid defensive base here. Goalkeeper, we've got some major issues, so I think it's safe to say that will be the position we prioritise our recruitment this summer. And number 5, always improve the weakest area of your team first. Essentially, you're only good as your weakest link. Another reason why we desperately need a new goalkeeper. Rule 6, the one that I really struggled with consistently at Worthing, is don't buy strikers unless absolutely necessary. The reason for that being, they're basically massively overvalued. And I can see that immediately here. Look at these values for some of our players. Maximum value of 35,000, 4.8 million. Our striker, 14 million for a 16-year-old on £180 a week. My word, this lad's a bit of a prize asset, isn't he? But I digress. Strikers tend to be overvalued. So if we can avoid paying out money for strikers, either by retraining existing players to play up front or promoting our youth players, that can save an awful lot of money for the club over time. Think about Tottenham. Imagine if they didn't have Harry Kane, how much money would they have spent over the last 10 years trying to get a striker half as good as Harry Kane? Probably hundreds of millions of pounds. We need to avoid that here at Birmingham because we've barely got even £100 to scrape together at the moment. Rule number 7 is sell players at their peak age. What we need to do here is maximise the value of every player in our squad. If we wait until they start to decline, they're losing their financial value. We have to make a net profit on every transfer deal. Given our horrific financial situation, that is the only way we will claw ourselves back to a decent financial footing. So it's interesting to see that Ivan Sunjic here has already been bid on. He is one of our star players, currently a leading Sky Bet Championship player. Last year with us made 46 starts. He was ever present in the league last season. 2 goals, 7 assists, 6.98 average rating. But there are offers in for him. And he was transfer listed at the beginning of July due to our perilous financial position. This club really does need the director of Moneyball to sort things out, doesn't it? He's clearly one of our prize assets. If we can get £4 to £5 million for him, that's a deal we have to make. And in fact, the club has previously accepted all of these deals. So Stoke have offered 2.4 million up front, 3 further instalments and some bonuses after league appearances. Reading 2.1 million up front, similar instalment. Torino, similar structure, but much lower value. With that in mind, I will reject the Torino offer. And what's going on with Brandon Fleming here? We signed him for £350,000 last year. He made 40 appearances for us. And we're moving him on for £325,000. That feels unacceptable. Particularly when he's valued at up to £850,000. No. That is not a good deal. I understand that the club wants to make as much money as possible, but this isn't a fire sale yet. Rule 8, for obvious reasons, always scout for replacements, because we're really going to need them. Worryingly, there are only 27 players who currently fit that age range on our scouting system, so this is going to be a big task for the rest of the summer. And rule 9, the scariest rule, but possibly in this situation, the best rule for us. If any club comes in to offer more than a player's market value, you sell them straight away. In a Moneyball world, all of your players are saleable assets. Everyone has a price. And that is making me wonder about Jobe Bellingham and Rydian Bennett. If we could sell either of those players who are under contract with us for another 2 years, that could essentially solve our financial problems in one swoop. First things first, though, do we know any goalkeepers of any age? 2. We know 2 goalkeepers. To be honest, though, Kelvin, if you could just leave me some notes on potential goalkeepers on your way out, that would be really very much appreciated. So, Robert Elston, our new chairman, is asking me to confirm our expectations for the coming season. It would be unwise to aim higher. So, yeah, we'll keep things as they are, Robert, and reassess later. How is it possible to be £110,000 a week over your wage budget at this level? That is ridiculous. Oh my goodness me, we're paying off nearly £500,000 a month in debt as well. Oh, unless we do things drastically differently, we're looking at a £5 million loss every season. To be competitive, we're looking at selling £10 million worth of players every year. Woo! I walked into a right one here, didn't I? Some of you tried to tell me. You said, don't go, they're a mess. But I got all excited. I thought, oh, maybe I'm the one who can make the difference. We will, of course, continue to check in on Worthing's progress throughout the season. And fingers crossed we won't be reapplying for that job in 6 months' time. Well, this potentially bodes well. We have just negotiated an asking price of £17 million with Jobe Bellingham, who has barely played any football for us. Only 7 substitute appearances last season. And although he does have massive potential, he is much better off as a huge financial asset. So let's see if we can tempt anyone to bite. Before we go too much further, though, I do want to have a look at how the most important staff member that we have at this club currently compares to some of the options who might be out there. As I mentioned earlier, the assistant manager is absolutely critical when playing this style of save, because we're going to holiday on match days and leave every decision from team selection to tactical selections to team talks up to our coaching staff, led by our assistant manager. So we need someone who is top quality and is going to motivate and develop the team to mid-table safety. It's therefore critical to look at his tactical approach to make sure that we're supplying the players that he needs. Now, thankfully, I see that Jamie is very good at working with youngsters, which I think is going to be really crucial here at Birmingham. How does he compare to others who may be available out there? Well, Steven Bogers also plays tiki-taka. Very, very good. And 5-3-2 obviously would make us secure at the back. The only downside is we have zero wage budget available, so I fear we would not be able to tempt him to join us. No. So we're going to need to wait until we've got some wage budget available to make a move like that. Until we do, Jamie, we're relying on you. Well, rather ludicrously, Sunjic has decided to stay, even though we're pretty much desperate for him to leave. So we go again, offering him out. Sunjic is our team leader, so that is another reason to potentially keep him around. He's club captain, and it looks like we don't currently have a vice captain. Obvious choices would be one of Chong, Wisdom, or Fleming, if and when Sunjic moves on. And we have offers in from 3 clubs. 1 offer I'm not going to even entertain, but 2 I will accept. And O'Shea Ellis, our 9th best defensive midfielder. Well, goodness me, should I accept the offer from Bolton, who are offering to pay 10% of his wages, or Halifax, who are offering to pay 70%? Thank you, Halifax. Okay, so it is the 23rd of July, and we have our first match in charge of Birmingham, a friendly against League One Peterborough. And I'm about to show you how to go on holiday and leave the match firmly in the control of your assistant manager, but also still be able to watch it from the stands. Now, you need to have another manager loaded in the background. And we are going to click onto Birmingham's fixtures and attend. We'll then go back to the real me and take a little holiday. Just for a day. That then means as we click continue, your second manager will take his seat to watch your club in action as if you were there in real time. Here we are. We're at Peterborough, and it will be interesting to see how this Birmingham team get on. It gives us a chance to just look at the quality of the players. We are lining up with that 4-2-3-1. Bennett starts up front, Chong and White on the wing, Sunjic taking his place in defensive midfield. Oh, Robertson nicks the ball, plays a pass through to Chong, who is through. Is he going to square? Is he going to shoot? Oh, what a beautiful finish. Rolls it underneath the Peterborough goalkeeper from an impossibly tight angle for our first non-competitive goal as Birmingham boss. And an encouraging start to life. Here we are. We're on the attack again now. Bakuna picks the ball up. Sunjic on the ball now. Knocks it to Williams. We're knocking the ball around nice and easily between us. Sunjic plays it across to White. He squares it. Chong's in again. Second goal in quick succession. This is an encouraging start. What a pretty dominant 5-0 victory there for our first run out. So that is very encouraging. And now that we've seen what these boys can do on the pitch, we have players to sell and we have bargains to find. This is going to be a long way back to the top though, my friends. I have just realised quite how poor our staff are in comparison to the rest of the championship. We have pretty much one of the worst coaching teams and the worst scouting team. So, excuse me while I scout for some scouts. Right, 28th of July, we are starting to get somewhere. Alex Robertson, our 6th best attacking midfielder, is moving on loan to Sutton in League One. He's going to be a regular starter, which will hopefully increase his financial value. And obviously saves us over £1,000 a week in wages. So that, at this point in time, is pretty handy. We have 2 offers that we've now accepted for Sunjic. 3 offers for Janino Bacuna. and a £5 million offer from Sheffield United for Chong. It obviously does make me incredibly nervous to be losing these players, but we have to sort out our financial situation or there's nothing we can do to bring in new players. Okay, 30th of July, Chong has snubbed Sheffield United, so we're offering him out again. But first big sale, Sunjic, our team leader, our club captain, is moving to Hellas Verona for £3.4 million. Critically, £2.5 million will be added to the transfer budget. And when they said £2.5 million will be added to the transfer budget, it looks like they completely lied. Great. Yeah, no difference there at all. That's rather disappointing. Being lied to by the board, in my opinion, is not good. I'm now wondering, though, if I can tempt anyone to buy Bellingham for £10 million and a hefty chunk of the next sale. Another offer now for Chong. Board lying to me again, saying £4 million will be added to the transfer budget upon completion. I think they're lying. Right, Gavin White wants to speak to me, a 28-year-old winger. One of our better players wants to explore his options at the end of his contract, apparently. That's fine. That's the least of my worries right now, Gavin. But the board have blocked the transfer of Chong. They will absolutely not stand for selling him for £5 million. The absolute minimum was 5.25, so fine. We'll offer him to them for 5.25. And Dusseldorf have withdrawn their offer for Chong. Right, well, if that's the case, we know the board won't accept anything less than 5.25 million. So let's offer him out for 5.5 and see what happens. Right, Ellis O'Shea has agreed terms with Northampton. Why did we accept the offer from Northampton? We're not sending him out when only 10% of his wages are being paid. You can absolutely go out, though, if people pay 100% of your wages. Dear, oh dear. I fear Fortuna Dusseldorf may be heading the way of Birmingham with their financial acumen here, having pulled out of a deal for £5.25 million. But now that I've offered him out for £5.5 million, they are happy to make an offer. Well, I'm not going to say no. Plenty of teams now in for Ellis at 100%. So we will accept any offers for 90% or more. How are we getting on with that goalkeeper search? Few options there. That is encouraging. That is encouraging. Right, 1st of August. No incoming business yet. Very little outgoing business. Still massively over the wage budget. Chong, our best paid player, could be moving very, very soon, as would Bacunia. We do have a number of promising looking free transfers in on trial, and it might be time to start offering some of these a contract. They're not quite championship quality, but they can all improve, and I think that's probably the best we can do at this point in time. So if we come back to the squad planner, remove Chong and Bacunia, it's now really left and right wing that we're seriously lacking, and any depth behind Bennett is rubbish, which is a bit of a worry. So it looks like Karoma here might be a very sensible purchase. Not the best standard of player, but could cover a variety of positions across the front three. Played 43 games for Huddersfield in the Championship last year. And he apparently doesn't have any interest in making the move. Well, that's a good start. There are a few goalkeepers now popping up on our scout reports within the right age range. None of them looking outstanding. But at this point, we don't really need outstanding. We just need better. Okay. So just discovered the reality of the situation. First player I was making a move to sign, Joe Tomlinson. Can play left and right fullback. Wanted a wage of £3,500 a week. The most the board will allow me to offer is £350. This is going to be a problem. We do have to move players on to free up any chance of us having any budget available to sign new players. Oh my word. I just hope we can get it business done early enough in August so that we've got a good couple of weeks to fill the squad up before the deadline. 10 days till our first match of the season. Okay. No pressure. If we can clear this overdraft, will they give me some money to spend? Maybe some emergency loans? looking at the actual depth, defensive midfield is a real problem area because 3 of our defensive midfielders are likely to play in defence. Right, Callum Slattery played a good amount of football for Motherwell to a high standard. Are you interested in joining? And he feels the club lacks the financial muscle to meet his demands. Brilliant. Well, we'll terminate your trial then, Callum. Emergency loans, emergency loans. Let there be a defensive midfielder. Right, Teo Edun plays for Luton Town. Has not played a lot of football in the Championship, but is a body. Can we get him? Luton Town want a contribution of £3,900 a week, which we don't have. I am sensing a theme here. Teddy Jenks plays for Brighton. Made 19 non-competitive appearances last year. Played on loan at Crawley the year before that. Can we get him for free? Possibly. How about Javier Simons? We're basically begging right now. Well, there's another player on the way out. Juninho Bacuna is departing for a £2.1 million fee. The board are saying 1.4 million will be added to our transfer budget, and given their past behaviour, I don't believe them. Also offloaded Frank Tatham's wages as well as he moves out on loan. No, still nothing. And interestingly, the Daily Mirror, sharp bastion of journalism that it is, are asking me, although Juninho Bacuna was in the last year of his contract, he still had quite a few months left to run, so why did we sell him now? If you look at the club info screen, Daily Mirror, it's really quite obvious. I'm starting to get very nervous about this squad depth, so I think we might need to be promoting some of these younger players to the senior squad, at least for the first part of the season. Latrell Belnavis, not very good at defending, but speedy. Okay mental attributes, can play in that attacking midfield role. We might need a bit of depth there. We almost certainly need depth at centre-back. So Benjamin Boateng can be promoted. I'm now actually wondering whether or not it's sensible to send Ellis O'Shea out. Bellingham cannot play in defensive midfield. Chong's leaving. George Hall is not even a natural. I think Ellis O'Shea is a requirement to keep at the club. He might well be starting as a defensive midfielder for us in the first match of the season, despite only being Vanarama national quality. Oh, goodness me, why did I join this club? Well, here's some news that might make a bit of a difference. Chong is leaving. The player of the match in the first friendly we took charge of is now departing for £5.5 million. Is this going to make any difference to our financial situation? We will have pretty much cleared the overdraft after that particular sale. But sadly, my Bellingham test has failed. I transfer listed him just to see if that could encourage a few clubs to step in for him, and no one was going anywhere near it. Clubs were only willing to pay, well, less than £2 million. So, fact is, Bellingham's going to start this season. He is already one of our best players, so I've no doubt his value will increase over time. It might well be, if he does well in the first half of the season, he could be on his way in the winter. Guide value 17 to 22 million, and people wanted to pay 2. Right, both he and Bennett will keep at the club for now and see if there's some other players we might be able to extract some value from. My goodness, it's not even Ellis O'Shea. I've been pronouncing his name wrong the entire time. O'Shea Ellis. We're cancelling that deal. Think we're going to need you. So we have now cleared that debt momentarily. And it hasn't made any difference to our wage budget or transfer budget. Oh my gosh. No, the best we can offer is still £350 a week. That pretty much scuppers bringing in anybody this transfer window. Yikes. Kofi Barmer and George Hall are our 2 other major assets. We don't have a choice. We really don't have a choice. We have to offer them out. Crystal Palace expecting £5,500 a week for Simons. Oh, this is going to be a brutal start to the season. Absolutely brutal. We now have Lincoln approaching us to take Max Robson on loan until the next transfer window. And absolutely not. Brandon Fleming will be playing left back, so he's our backup. He's our backup left winger. What have I done? Most worryingly, our top priority recruitment focus, we haven't got a single recommendation. 2 in progress. Oh my word. Right, we're going to have to drop the quality expectation then. Knock that ongoing focus off. And the left back as well. Quite worryingly, we're lacking leaders in the team as well. So we will confirm those appointments. Right, 6th of August, 4 days to go until our first match in the Championship. No one wants to make an offer for Barmer, despite me reducing the asking price to £3 million. So I need to resort to extreme measures. We do have 2 clauses that we can sell on here. Odin Bailey's sell-on clause. We can sell for £31,000. That feels absurd. But Wes Harding, £485,000 from Rotherham. The other thing that could save us, if it happens in time, is if Jude Bellingham moves from Borussia Dortmund. He's still at Dortmund in August 2024. Currently, no clubs interested in him, which, to be honest, I find quite hard to believe. I would not be surprised if there are some offers for Bellingham before the end of the transfer window. I just hope it is before the end of the transfer window and we're able to see some of that benefit. Because currently, Andre Wisdom is our best player on star rating currently at the club and is only a good League One standard. Kofi Barmer is a decent Championship player. Gavin White, League One. Joe Bellingham, League One. Something dramatic is going to have to change or we're going to be in for a rough start to the season. We can't even afford to sign an untested, untried 20-year-old goalkeeper who wants to be a breakthrough prospect. The best we can offer is £110 a week. This is woeful. Somebody buy Bellingham. Zach Willis moves to Mansfield on loan, so that's more money saved on the wage bill. There's no hope of us finding anybody unless they're ridiculously cheap. We're paying Vanarama wages. I might as well have stayed at Worthing. And Latrell Belnavis, who I had to draft into the first team squad because we were massively short on players, is now injured for 2 weeks. Brilliant. Go to the Championship, they said. You'd go there in real life, they said. You'll get paid more, they said. It'll be fun, they said. It will be. It will be. Somehow we're going to make this work. Really help if we had that £12.5 million from Jordan James this year. Can we bring it forward? Well. We've had an offer of £5.75 million for Jobe Bellingham, 2 further instalments of £700,000 each, and a 40% percentage of profit from the next sale. I think we have to accept this. This might be the only thing that can give us some wiggle room to bring other players in. So I will stall the offer. I'll see if we can get slightly better from other clubs. See if we can negotiate this one up. So let's make it £6.5 million with 2 further instalments, £1 million each, and that percentage of profit from next sale. That is a better deal. Will anyone take it? Well, rather absurdly, we've had an even lower offer from FC St. Gallen, so we're rejecting that one, certainly. But we do have some good news. Some more scouts. Miroslav Jovic and Fritz Voltmer are joining us. I am desperately hoping that they will be able to recommend some players to us. Well, that was quite the first few weeks in charge of Birmingham. We've overseen £11 million worth of transfers out of the club, including 3 of the best players we had on the books, and so far not signed a single player. It's interesting to see how poor their transfer business has actually been over the last few years, which I think is partly why they've ended up in this position. £2.9 million of transfers out, so net profit of about £2.5 million last year, and a Weasley 8.75k the year after that. Dear oh dear. So I'm dreading looking at the season preview. Oh my word. We are pretty much dead certs for relegation. Our 2 key players are the 2 worst key players in the division. we are going to need a miracle. We could get one. We could get a massive windfall from the sale of Jude Bellingham if Dortmund sell him this transfer window. That's what we need. That is the thing that will make a massive difference. Until then, there is an awful lot riding on Jamie Day to motivate this team and somehow get a result. We are playing Luton Town, who are predicted to finish in 14th place. I'm desperately trying to stick to these Moneyball rules, but I might need to bring in a load of kids just so that we have enough players. I certainly didn't expect things to be this bad. All of you out there who recommended I stay at Worthing, I applaud you. You were absolutely right. Now I have made the decision. I shall bear the consequences. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode. We will be back soon to find out how we get on in our first few matches of the season and whether or not we can make any transfers before the end of August. Thank you so much for watching today. I am Kirk Sheridan. Drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel and turn your notifications on to find out the second that part 2 of Birmingham City drops. And in the meantime, be excellent to each other. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon.